Thank you for joining us here on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. It's the In Wheel Time team. Mike Mars, Conrad DeLong, Don Armstrong here. And this is kind of a little special podcast, Facebook broadcast from the 60th annual Autorama here at the George R. Brown Convention Center in downtown Houston. We have people watching us from all over the world, I am proud to say. And we wanted to welcome you to this live podcast / Facebook broadcast. So there are the couple of guys that are sitting here that we're going to interview in this particular thing. And actually, we're not going to interview him, but I did want to commend Mr. Weldon over here. Mr. Mars, are you paying attention?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Mr. Weldon over here for his magnificent show of the Mustang Club and Northside Mustangs.
2 of them.
And all of the Mustangs. You know, you win the club award from the In Wheel Time game. Now, I'm serious, because back in the day, we used to have a lot of clubs that showed. There are some clubs here. Mustangs, right on, brother.
Thank you.
What do you got?
Oldsmobile,
What do you
we
got?
got a few here.
2 Mustangs over there?
We've got 27 Mustangs.
27 Mustangs.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier because it's like, used to, here's a truck club, here's a Camaro club, here's the Pontiac club, here's all these clubs, and they all got a bunch of cars. And it's like, not so much this year. And it's really good to see the Mustang club still hanging.
And may I say, from the car club perspective, you need to do more of this. Yeah. And congratulations, and please thank all of the guys that showed their cars here, because I know it's a commitment, and it's a huge undertaking for each individual to get their car ready to bring to an event like this. I mean, this is a national event, really, and you compete against all of the other 450 cars that are here. So congratulations, and we really appreciate all that you do. Thank you for. I know that you have all 6 generations of Mustangs over there. So congratulations and thanks again. And it's great to see you, and we're going to run into you again soon, I hope.
Northside Mustang Club, that little club from Texas.
Yeah, there's that.
I hover around, so.
I know. Well, we love you, and thank you very much.
Take care.
So this guy sitting here next to me on the headset, Rich, last name?
Matera.
So
Irish.
when we moved in here on
Irish
name, yes. So when we moved in here on Tuesday evening, Rich is our backdoor neighbor over there, and he has a 1972 stunningly beautiful Chevrolet Malibu SS. Now Chevelle.
Okay,
I did not want to blow this by saying it's a 327 or blow it by saying it's a 454. No, we're going to let Rich tell us about the motor in the car. And the only reason that I start with that is because Rich actually had it running, and he asked me, hey, could you center me up on my space? And I said, absolutely. So we centered him up on the space, and then he hit the electric button to open up the headers on the car, and I'm going, oh, yeah, there's that. So, Rich, welcome to the In Wheel Time radio program thing that we've got going here on Facebook. And yes, so the motor, we need to know about the motor first, for us motor guys.
It's a 489 stroker.
A 489 stroker.
Because 454 isn't big enough. So is that a 60 over?
Yeah.
60 over. So I know that you have spent an enormous amount of time, not to mention money, on that entire car, because it is stunningly beautiful.
Thank you.
And we're all in awe, and we want to be you, okay? So Rich came down from Indiana. We're in Indiana?
Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Really?
Well, to let you know that my last name is Armstrong. So my heritage is, and I'm just going to divert here just for a moment. My heritage is
This is the Don cast.
this is the Don cast. That my heritage is Scottish, obviously Armstrong, and my great grandfather immigrated to the United States to Terre Haute. So there is the Indiana connection somehow there. I don't know what
I
it
wasn't
is.
sure where we were
I was
going.
gonna
I'm
say-
so glad we finally got there.
I thought he was going to go into I'm an Irish Notre Dame fan, and
No, Scottish.
Scottish,
Not
Scottish.
Irish. They didn't like each other.
okay.
So long as you're not wearing a kilt.
Well, that's okay because we've got Matera over
Tell us
here.
about the car. Well, you know, one of the tough things about a car, especially in these kind of lights, because it's that white neon light that's in here. A straight black car is very difficult to show in because you get so many angles of light on the car. Your car is straight, and that is
Yeah.
real difficult to do.
Not everybody can wear a
So
black.
those that are following us on this Facebook or whatever feed that we're on understands that a straight car, meaning that all of the metal on the car is straight, and all of the door panels, all of the joining parts all line up, and they've got the same seam width in them.
And
So
to get-
that's a straight car.
And to give everybody a visual, 72 Chevelle, black, just a jet black with red rally stripes.
No. It's tangerine pearl,
Oh,
I was going to say
Wait,
that's not
forgive
red.
me.
24 karat gold flake.
I underestimated the quality of his stripe.
So
in
how
the
big is your foot,
fluorescent-
and how can you put that in your mouth?
Yeah, I just did.
The fluorescent lights, like to be out in the sun, you would see the 24 karat gold more than you would the tangerine pearl.
Okay. And where did you find that color?
It was in a paint chart House of Color had when I was looking in there at the paint store. And I took it to the guy that was doing my car. And he turned around and said I can add or deduct the gold flake, depending on how much in effect.
How much gold you want to have in it?
Right. And I didn't want it over
You want
to be too much.
right. You want it to
But
be
you were
subtle.
enough
Yeah.
to glisten when you were out
So
in the
let's
sun.
go back on this car. When did you acquire the car?
2005, I bought it when I moved out in Indiana.
From where did you move from?
Zoo, Jersey.
New Jersey. I was waiting on that.
Joyzy.
He's from Jersey,
Joyzy.
up in your neck of the woods.
I know. I'm a Westchester County, born and raised.
Anyway, so all right, so you get to Indiana and you find this car. Where did you find the car?
I went Labor Day weekend. They have the auction, Memorial Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
And I went to the auction, and I didn't expect to find that. And I bought that rolling from the original owner.
The original owner.
Yeah.
So it was all stock,
No, it was, he had aftermarket wheels, tires on it.
but it was a numbers matching
Yes.
engine, chassis, transmission, rear end.
One owner.
Well, the drivetrain wasn't, well, it was original, but it was blown. The block was cracked, and it had spun bearings. So I basically bought it
It's
as
a
a
blow
roller.
motor.
Yeah.
But what you had told me originally is the car was a bracket racing car.
Yes.
So it's seen a lot of time at the track.
Yeah.
But you also said it was in relatively good visual shape.
Yeah, the body was.
So was the car a northeastern car?
Yeah.
And how did it survive all the rust belt stuff?
Well, they kept it in. They had a team that did racing. They had a couple cars.
Oh, okay.
And the last couple of years here, before I bought it, it was sitting in their shop off in the corner. And then finally they decided they needed room, so they took this and tried to make it somewhat presentable for auction. And along came me.
Even though it didn't run.
So it was just sitting
Yeah.
over in the corner because they blew the engine out of it.
Yeah.
And,
So, and were you
waiting.
looking for a big block Chevelle?
No,
Did you
What
know?
were you looking for anything in particular?
I was looking for a six of all things, a '69 Super Bee.
Oh, wow.
and you wound up buying this car.
Yeah.
72.
How interesting. So
It's funny how it happened. I was inside the building as a bidder, and I found two cars that I was attracted to. And,
bitter with D's and not T's.
Yep.
Got it. Because if you're going to go from a Super B to a Chevrolet, you could be bitter, not bidder. Just saying.
Anyhow.
Anyway, go ahead.
The two cars that I was trying to bid on, I got outbidded. So I decided go walking around. So outside they have a car corral, and there were cars that didn't quite make it to go across the block inside, and I couldn't find anything I really cared for outside. And I was walking by and I spotted this, and this is my fourth Chevelle in my life. And
This is what?
the Ford Chevelle.
Fourth Chevelle.
Oh,
So you had
Chevelle
your-
guy from way back.
So you got
Yeah.
the Chevelle thing in the blood,
Yeah.
obviously. And so there was that thing that you said, dang, you know, I kind of leaning toward that Chevelle, but I'll really came here for Super B.
Yeah.
So is this a tribute car or is this a true SS?
It's a true SS.
Is it really?
Yeah. Numbers matching.
It's a beautiful car.
So obviously you've done, needless to say, a lot of work on this car.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy that did the paint and fit, I got to give him a lot of credit. I got to know him through friends in Fort Wayne that he did two guys' cars there. He picks a project to do for like a 2-year period. And he was looking at mine the one day I brought it over, and he just did a rough look over on it. And he came back and he said, you know, like quarter panels, he said they need to be rehung. He said bodywork don't need any. He said paint, he said 10,000. That was no bodywork.
10,000 for the paint. Okay. All right, I got that.
So after
That's not out of reality.
no. He kind of gave me a break because it was through a mutual friend on the price.
Okay.
So after we agreed on everything, I brought the car there and I told him, I said, if I'm going to do this car, I want to take it to the highest level I can. I said, there's a show I always see in magazines, World of Wheels, and I like to see how the car would
Compete. Yeah,
compete
sure.
in there. So he said, well, everything's got to be perfect. Your paint, your fit. So he took it all down to a bare shell. And he does everything by hand. No sand blasting, powder,
Right.
soda blasting, or any of
Right.
that.
Mhm.
He took it all down bare metal and started from there, fit the car. I was down and I took pictures of it from start to finish.
Yeah.
And then when it was done, like 2 years ago, I attended my first show here in World of Wheels in Pittsburgh. And the judges were very happy with the paint and the fit on the car. They were impressed. And I took my first Best of Show.
So you had already done the interior. You had already done the engine when you showed it the first time.
No, the engine I didn't do.
You didn't do the engine.
No.
Did it run?
Yeah, I had a motor built after I bought it in 2006. I had to start from a brand new block, and I just had a basic 454 with a little upgrades internally.
A little.
A little.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then I drove it for a couple of years here doing local shows.
Cruising type things.
Yeah. And then after I had the body done and everything, that's when I decided on the drivetrain I wanted to upgrade that. And I went and had a pro-built motor. That's how I ended up with the 49 stroker. And
You're not, I can see that little smirk on your face there. It's like, yeah, I've got a 489 stroker. Yeah, and
you don't.
And I also put those electric cutouts on there just for Don Armstrong in Houston at Autorama, just so I could flick the switch and it'd go pop, 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 pop when I pulled it into my space at Autorama.
Yeah.
I get it.
Inside the GRB.
Inside the GRB. Well, when we move out tonight, I'm sure that he'll start the car and you're going to go, I get it now.
Yeah. Oh, I heard him whenever he flipped that switch.
Did you? Yeah.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Conrad's walking around the car over there, kind of putting it on some.
Oh, is that what Conrad's doing there?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
good.
he's walking around, so he kind of showing what we're talking about here.
Great.
So,
Well, he can't hear us. He's just showing the
yeah,
car.
he's just showing it right now.
So there it is, as you can see. So we're showing. What we'll wind up doing is we'll wind up sending you all of this, or you can download it on all of the social media apps, and then you can record it.
I don't have computer technology.
Do what?
I don't have computer technology.
Really?
But you fit in around here. I'm just.
Yeah, no
say.
kidding.
Never
Because
been on a
there's
computer.
the king of non-computer technology right there. Uh-huh. You got to tell him, Mars, we're on the air. Would you get off your phone now? We have a radio show going on. So there's that.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, so a 489 stroker. Have you ever had it dynoed
Yes, I just did this past summer.
this past summer? And what kind of numbers did it turn out?
On the dyno, it put out 575 at the rear wheel and 600 torque.
600 pound-feet of torque and 575 horsepower. You know,
But that's
Is
not
that
the
pump
true.
gas?
that's not
Yeah.
the. What,
Well, it's pump
Gas.
premium and race gas mixed.
Okay.
The thing I learned was from when I had a dynoed, he had said you have to figure another 20% at the track, because on a dyno you're 20% under because it's on rollers.
Because you can't. A lot of times when you get up to that high a horsepower, you can't keep traction, and that's why sometimes when you see guys on the dyno, there's 2 or 3 guys sitting in the back of it to get enough weight on the
Trying to weight it
tires
down.
so they can keep the roller from the tires from spinning.
I didn't know that.
On the roller. Oh yeah. I've been a couple of dyno events, and usually they stick my big butt up, sitting up there on the guy's trunk so they help him get traction. I resemble that remark, Don.
well, my goodness.
And it's a light car. It's lighter than an average Chevelle.
And why is that?
When I pulled a lot of weight out of it, when like the front suspension, I took out the stock suspension. I have QA1 tubular.
Control arms.
Yes, upper and lower. The motor, the heads, I took off the factory cast iron heads. I have Dart Pro Series 1 aluminum heads on
Oh
it.
wow.
So there was a lot of substantial weight there.
And you've had it at the track? I kind of walked over to take some video of the car. Have you had it to the track?
I haven't had a chance this summer, so I'm going to next summer. A friend of mine that does a lot of racing, he one night went over all my motor specs, the gear ratio, the weight of the car, because the car weighs under 3,500 pounds. And
That's actually quite light for a
Chevelle.
that generation
Yeah.
GMA body, whether it's Chevelle or Oldsmobile or the Buick or the Pontiac version.
Yeah, they're all 3,800.
Yeah, 3,800 and
And up.
with options a little bit more sometimes.
Yeah, up to 42. And he came back after he did all the calculating on his computer, mid to almost 10-second flat.
Yep.
So, Rich, let me ask you something. On a personal level, are you
Yeah.
married?
Yeah.
You're married.
That was quite personal, Don.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be that personal, but you obviously have a partner that has a real understanding of your passion.
Only because it was like a tribute to my late son that I did it.
Oh, how cool is that?
Really? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. So
Thank you.
Tell you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, I could do it.
So tell me about your late son.
My youngest son at the time, he was multiple disabilities, and I was his primary caretaker. So at the time when we moved out here in '05, I was retired and caring for him. He loved that car, going for rides. He had a speech problem, was part of his disability. And but he could say the word ride, and he'd take me by the hand out to the garage to the car. When he passed in 2008, it was like my world ended, and I just lost touch with reality. And for 3 months, that sat there in the garage collecting cobwebs. So my wife and my oldest son kind of put a fire under me to do something. So that's when I decided to take that car, and I started out doing local car shows. And then it was constant winter, and that's when I decided I wanted to take it to whatever the highest level I could in honor of him. And by the grace of God, that's
What was his name?
why I'm here now. Sean.
Sean? Well, it's an awesome tribute to your son, Sean.
Thank you.
That you continue that. You can hear in your heart how emotional that is for you. And thanks for letting us be a part of it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. There's another family, like the one thing I want to let you know about. Since I started doing these shows, everywhere I've traveled, you become friends with people that you're in the shows with that also travel it. And like Andy Story, that's how I got to know him. From 2 years ago, my first show, and he came over and gave me a lot of pointers because I was really enthused with the world of wheels. And then this show here, it's my second year. Last year was my first. There's a couple, Lendl and Carol, that have a 55 Chevy and an old Ford pickup down there. We were on the other side of that bus last year. And we had we hit it off all weekend. We stayed in contact, and they were ecstatic that I was coming back this year. And we had a great time hanging out this weekend again. The couple across from me with the blue Mustang, we got very close because similar to me, their car is the tribute to their son. They bought the car when their son was 12, and the father and the son were going to build it and have it ready when he was 16, but he passed within a year after his 12th birthday. And yesterday they took first place in their class. And the couple behind me here with this pickup, Eddie and Paula, hanging out with them this weekend, giving them pointers. It's with their first show.
Yeah, when he was setting up, we were watching him get set up, and he was talking about this is his first time to come out and do this. Even though he's had vehicles forever, he's just never gone to this.
Yeah, he did locals with his other car.
But it's cool to see the camaraderie that happens at a show as well.
Yeah.
People, for you traveling around a little bit, people you see other places and have seen here before. But it's, even though you're all in competition, everybody actually does want to kind of help each other to be successful.
They appreciate it. Eddie and Paula, Carol and Mike, and it was both of them. It was their first time, giving them pointers what the judges look for, any improvements they could do.
They kind of cheated a little bit with the Ford truck behind us because all the kids talk about the M&Ms.
Yeah.
I want to get a picture with the M&Ms. They're using little M&M stands for their stanchions around the car.
Well, we have talked many times on this radio show that's been on the air for going on 9 years now about the camaraderie of the car
community
folks.
In general, yeah,
and especially the show car people.
The friendships you make.
The friendships that you make and the relationships and the camaraderie. all here to help you out. And you know, you even hear in racing circles, the cars bring people together. And even though that you may have some disagreements on the racetrack, in the pits, it's a different thing as a rule. Everybody's there to help each other, and the cars bring everybody together. And I think that there is something to be said for this entire sport, if you want to call it that. I call it a community, that we're all here for each other, and we all appreciate each other's work. And we had the conversation earlier in another portion of our radio show about the fact that there's every kind of car here, with over 500 cars here at this particular show, where there's going to be cars that you don't particularly care for, but you appreciate the work that has gone into the car.
Right.
And that's their interpretation of what they like.
Right.
They might not like your car. I get that. You get that. You get that. We
Yeah,
all
we've
get
talked
that.
about that.
Yeah. We've had long conversations about it. There is a particular car down here that I'm going, this guy has absolutely no clue how to show a car. But on day 2 of the show, I went back and looked at the car again. I'm going, but I do respect the fact that he has a late model LS motor in this car.
I know what
from
car
the-
you're talking about.
The 1960s, and it's got a 4-speed transmission in it, and the car probably weighs about 5,000 pounds. It has a terrible paint job on it. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. I would never show a car like that. That's me. But this guy down here, he doesn't know any difference. That's his car. He's proud of it. And you know what? I respect him for, first of all, can I say it, having the balls to bring the car and show it, whether he understands what it is or not. But on the second hand, he put all that work into that car, and he's proud of that car.
And we never know what the backstory is, like your story about, why that car is a tribute to Sean. There may be a backstory to this guy's car as well.
Right.
There is no backstory to my car. It's just
That's a pretty
as a matter
car.
of
I was
fact-
looking for a toy.
As a matter of fact, the trunk is closed for a reason. And we keep pointing that, I keep pointing that out because I'm a show car guy like you, and I'm going, Conrad, is there a problem back here in the trunk that you can't show it? Well,
I
there's
saw
this
in the back of
and
it
this.
yesterday.
And
There is a problem.
There's a problem. And it is,
It's where I'm hiding all the parts I've bought that my wife doesn't
and
know.
that is total BS. It is not that. It is his junk drawer in the office. It's the junk drawer. Throw it all in there.
But I'm trying to start a collection of all of the bits and pieces that talk about your car. I know you have lots, and we just did a little video of it. You have lots of stands around the car that talk about the car, that are pictures of the car, that tell the story about the car.
Right.
And so I'm trying to build a collection of those things too. But they're not in the trunk. That's just junk.
Yet. Yeah, exactly. So I have to ask you, you said that you were retired. What did you do for a living when you weren't retired?
All right. From the time I was 20 to when I was 30, I worked at a friend's restaurant full-time during the day. And at night, I worked full-time for General Motors assembly plant in Linden, New Jersey.
Okay. I was a field engineer for General Motors for 25 years. I was actually, for 10 of those years, I was assigned to Bowling Green. So that was a little bit of fun.
Yeah,
What did you guys
correct.
build in Linden?
Well, when I started there, they were building
Cavaliers?
the big three. The Buick Electra 225,
Oh, gosh.
the Olds 98.
I have a deuce and a quarter collection. Oh my God, how blessed am I?
but that's,
Then
those
we
were
went-
moneymakers back in the day.
79 to 85, we did the Eldorado, the Seville, the Olds Tornado, and the Buick Riviera
The
front-wheel
hot
drive.
ones that all the hot cars, he built them.
That's right.
And then after that, we went to building S10 trucks.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. The Beretta in Corsica.
oh,
I remember the Beretta. Yeah.
chew my arm off right now.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That was-
to go from all of that
Yeah.
to this. Ugh.
Then they went to the S10 truck and Blazers. And then eventually they shut the plant in, was it 2000? 1 or 2, I
Yeah.
think it was.
You know, on and off, plants open and close, and they move production around from place to place. You know, it's kind of like years ago they used to also build Cutlasses, Malibus, Pontiac GTOs up in Arlington, Texas. Now they build Suburbans and Tahoes. So it's, you know, for General Motors, it's just a building, and what can they make money inside the building? So
Yeah.
at some point, I would imagine Berettas and Corsicas weren't making any money.
You think?
Well, in the beginning they did. In the beginning,
I didn't
they were
understand why they
everywhere.
even took it on, because it was only figured on like a 4-year build, you know, and that was it, 2 to 4 years, and they were phasing it out.
So what have you been doing since then? Working on the car, obviously.
Yeah, taking care of the house.
Lucky you. You're good. And where do you live today?
Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Third time you've asked. And you haven't slept in between.
In a house that's too big.
Well, well.
By the time you start cleaning up, begin the week.
I was going to say it's too big because you got to shovel snow. You don't have to shovel snow in Houston. You just got to deal with wind and rain.
I left last Sunday to come down here because it was 19 hours. And when I left Sunday, it was 3.5 inches and 47 degrees during the day.
Oh, gosh.
In the 20s at night. And on the way down, slowly, like through Arkansas,
You thawed out.
the temperature, I went from having the heat on low, off,
They having the air seat
taking
on.
the coat off,
Roll the windows down.
cracking the windows down, and I get down here and it's 80 degrees.
And then you meet us, and you're thinking, oh, my God, put me in jail is better than this. Yeah.
Well, again, you have a stunningly beautiful car.
Thank you.
I've always been a fan, as you can tell. I'm a fan of the GMA bodies of that 68 through 72 generation.
We were
Hello.
built
All of
together.
them, yeah.
They were built together.
Just
You have a rear car.
Just a fan of all of them, and an SS 454 just makes your heart go pitter patter.
Well, it was a 454.
Well,
It's a lot more
it's
than
a
that.
lot more.
Yeah, but like I said, anything that can wear black like that, because not everything can wear black. I mean, you just can't do it on everything.
Right.
But that thing is just gorgeous and straight and pretty. I mean, it just,
Everything about that car is right.
yes.
And it drew my attention, the first day you rolled in, even though Don was, and I was too, I'll admit to it, we wanted you to crack the headers open and give it a little
He's
whoppa.
standing over there drooling over it.
I will
But
tonight.
the car looks so good.
Rich, thank you so much.
I thank you so much.
Thank you for telling your story.
Thank you.
I knew when I first met you we had a connection, and hopefully we'll keep the connection throughout the years now.
I'm going to be back again next
You
year.
can keep up with us from the ESPN app on your cell phone every Saturday from 12 noon to 2. You
Yeah.
can check it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and online and every social media thing that you can think of. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
A real pleasure.
It was a
Thank
pleasure
you.
coming.
Thank you very
And
much.
we really
Thank you.
appreciate you sharing your story about Sean.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Thank you.
that's going. You don't have to leave
Oh.
just yet, but we're going to say goodbye to all of our in-wheel time viewers, listeners, followers on Facebook and all of our social media platforms, because today wasn't a broadcast per se on the radio, but it was more important than that because of all of our online people that follow us, which is a lot more than the radio side. So we say goodbye to you from the 60th anniversary of the Autorama here at George R. Brown Convention Center. We'll be back in the studio next week with the radio show, and of course it will be here on our social media platforms as well. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to be at Twin Peaks up in the Woodlands, Texas.
On December 14th.
Okay. And so that's in a couple of weeks. We've got a lot of actually remote broadcasts coming up in the next 6 weeks or so.
Pipes and Tacos, Houston Auto Show.
And Richard's going December, outside, remote. I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Exactly.
No, this is Houston, Texas, and it's going to be gorgeous.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. And thanks so much for Rich and his wonderful 1972 SS
454, 492, whatever you want to call it.
Badass.
There you go. That covers
So
it.
along with Mike Mars and Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.